Unexplained sonic weapon attacks are blowing up already strained relations between the United States and Cuba. The U.S. government has ordered the departure of 15 Cuban diplomats from its embassy in Washington amid a probe into the attacks on American personnel in Cuba. The State Department says Havana failed to protect U.S. diplomats from the mysterious attacks, which left more than 20 people reporting sudden ill health. Ranging from mild brain trauma and deafness to dizziness and nausea. Cuba's foreign minister has called the move unacceptable. Cuba insists it hasn't done anything wrong, and the United States has not directly accused Havana for the suspected attacks.